Welcome to the amantra presentation from Satnav Technologies. Amantra is a web-based facility management suite and a complete business infrastructure management solution. Amantra is built in the form of modules, and the scope of Amantra depends on the modules you choose. Amantra has got the following modules. It has a workflow engine wherein you identify the users and assign roles and responsibilities to the created users. It has got a property management module wherein you can track the owned as well as the rented property along with the payables and receivables. It has got a space management wherein you can manage the space utilization inside the building and increase the occupancy ratio. Asset management is a mini ERP kind of a solution wherein you can track the asset right from the purchase till the disposal of it. It has got a maintenance management module wherein you can track the planned or annual maintenance by creating a schedule and updating the same. You can also use a corrective maintenance action by creating a ticket or a support request which is then assigned to the concerned team. You have got a hotel room and a conference room booking module wherein you can go online and book a conference room or a hotel room inside a corporate. It has got an MIS reports which are included in the tool, and any other report requirements you have based on the organization need and requirement can be customized. Going in a bit of a detail on the workflow engine, you can create and update users manually through the tool, or you can as well import the user data from your existing SAP or the HR portal. You can also integrate this with a single sign-on mechanism, wherein once a person logs in into the Windows login, he need not use an user ID and password to again log in into the tool. You can also create the roles and assign privileges for the created roles. This will give you a role-based access to the users, which thus automates the entire flow and creates a process in the organization. It will give you a role-based access with automated approvals for the raised requests along with the automated email alerts. Going in a bit of detail on the property management, the property management module is subdivided into 3 modules, wherein the first one, before procuring the property, you can raise a property request saying in this location I need a property, which thus goes to your immediate reporting manager who approves that particular location and goes to the location head. The location head will identify several other properties in that particular location and finalizes on one property. Once he finalizes on a property, it goes to the finance wherein he will be checking what is the applicable rate for that particular property. Once the finance approves the property, it goes to the legal body wherein they will be checking all the legal requirements for the property. Once the legal requirements are done, he will be approving the property and uploading all the documents concerned for that particular property into the tool. Thus, the property can be procured. So, the procurement can be an owned property, or you might be leasing it or renting that particular property. Once the property is procured, then you can upload all the lease agreements, property documents and property photos into the tool, wherein you will have all the property related information at one place. The details, lease deed and the details that you would like to track for the property, you can enter them separately and you will be getting an email escalation based on the time you give for the reminders. Once this is completed, you can confirm the occupancy of that particular building. The occupancy, once it is confirmed, will be assigning the users to the property. The assigning of the users can be as tenants, or you can sublease that particular property for a given time period. So if you are giving it for tenants, you can assign the tenants and assign the rent-free and the lock-in periods. Then you can see what is the available property that you have in terms of area, and how much of the area is allocated to different tenants or the lessors. Based on that, you can also enter the rent details and the time at which you would like to collect the rent. So it can be a quarterly, annually, or half yearly, whatever is the rent period that you would like, you will be entering those details and the system will automatically generate the rental receipts and the reminders for the non-payment dues. Thus, for a single property, you will be able to get a profit report and a customized report from the available properties. These are the things that you can track for the property. So you can compare the property prices at each different location. You can track the lease or the rental agreements. You can have all the property documents at one particular place. You can geocode that particular property so that you will know where actually the property is located on the globe and also identify the driving directions. It can also give you a detailed report on the payments and the receivables part. The good thing here is you need not remember it. Automatically the emails are triggered whenever the property lease is getting expired or rent is not paid. So you can generate the rental or the payment receipts from the tool, and you can give the lease escalations with all the rent-free periods. At any given point of time, you can see what are the leases that are there pending for renewal. So once this property management is done, this is a sample of how the property will look like when it is plotted on the map. Then coming on to the space management module, the space management is drilled down from the country level to the cubicle or a workstation level. Once the drill down has happened, you will be tagging 4 parameters to the assigned workstation. The 4 parameters are, you will be tagging the employee, which says who is the person sitting in that particular space, what are the assets that are there in that particular space, this space is assigned to which project and which vertical or business unit. Once we tag these 4 parameters, the reports that you will be getting out would be an allocation report which says how many seats are allocated to which vertical. You will get an occupancy report saying out of the allocated seats, how many employees are actually occupying the seats. From the utilization report, you will be able to find out for the occupied seats, if you have the assets plotted there, then those assets are considered as utilized assets. You will also have a thematic report wherein the AutoCAD drawing is digitized and placed on the map, wherein all the occupied, over-occupied or vacant seats are seen thematically on the AutoCAD drawing with different colors. You can also find a project-wise billing report and a building-wise billing report, wherein for any particular project or a building, you can see how many spaces are occupied by each and what is the amount that is given for each space. Then coming to the workflow of it, whenever a new employee joins in an organization, he can raise a space request, or any reporting manager can raise a space request on behalf of another employee. Then it goes to the reporting manager wherein he approves it. It goes to the facilities desk, wherein facility desk will see what are the available spaces inside a particular floor. Based on the availability of spaces, facilities team will be allocating the space. Then it goes to the IT team wherein the space that is allocated to him is furnished with the assets that are required. Once the employee accepts the space and assets that are there in the space, then it is considered as an occupied space. Then there is a deallocation cycle, wherein if a person wants to deallocate a particular space and move to another space, he can deallocate it or surrender that particular space, which in turn goes to the reporting manager, wherein he can approve it to move to the facilities team, or he can hold it for another person to join. Once the facility head approves it, IT team checks whether all the assets are there in the working condition and then deallocates the space. This is like a simple AutoCAD drawing of how it would look like. You can have a vacant scenario, you have an occupied scenario, you have a partially occupied scenario wherein it is a BPO kind of a company wherein a single seat is shared by more than one person, then based on the occupancy that is there, it can be considered as partially occupied or over-occupied. These are like the visual layouts. You will have a zoom in, zoom out functionality for each drawing. And you can see the attribute information like who is the person sitting at which particular desk. Coming to the benefits of it, you can have a drill down technique to locate the building or a workspace. You can visually represent the complete floor drawing and use it for better space planning. You can also have a thematic coloring of space based on your allocations or based on the occupancy. You can also put in calculations like space chargebacks, where if somebody has allocated a seat and before the seat is getting freed, if they want to give the seat back, then you can do a chargeback scenario. It will also give you a trend showing what are the usage of resources. So at any given point of time, say from last year, if you would like to see the trend of what is the occupancy, you can also do that. It will also give you an analysis of space, assets and utilities inside a building. This can also be used for forecasting purpose, wherein if you are expanding your business in certain geographies, you can identify where are the seats that are vacant. The return on investment for this would be usually when we have considered the time that a particular facilities manager is taking for allocating a seat. It was considered as typically every person was using 3 hours of his time just for identifying the seat and giving the seat to the concerned person. So this time has tangibly got reduced and it has resulted in a 4.4 man-years of savings. And you can also have a 5% of monetary savings which have been resulted in 8.75 CR. Then coming on to the asset management module. Asset management module is divided into 2 groups. One is before procurement and the other one is after procurement. The assets are divided into 3 types. We call it as fixed assets if it is tagged to a space, movable asset if it is tagged to the employee, and consumable assets which has got a stock register and an owner. These assets are grouped into categories which can go into an indefinite level of categories you can create and can be subcategorized into brands, and you can select a vendor for creating a PO. So if you are looking for a procurement cycle, you can select a vendor and you can create a PO which goes for the approval. You can also segregate the items that are there in the PO and generate the payment memos. So once the assets are delivered inside a building, it is considered that the assets are installed and procured from a vendor for which the PO is created. Then it goes into the stock. Once the assets are there in the stock, the asset IDs are generated. The generated asset IDs are barcode friendly and the asset IDs can be printed out in the form of an Excel if you do not have a barcoding machine. The generated asset IDs are then allocated to the employees. So every asset that is there will have an owner and a co-owner. They will be tracking whatever would be the asset status. If they need any other asset, then the facilities desk can check whether they have to procure it from outside or they can fulfill it from other stockroom. So if they are fulfilling from other stockroom, then it is considered as an intra-movement, wherein a gate pass is generated and an outward entry and inward entry are marked. If it is inter-movement, then it will be in the same location but the owner and the co-owner would change. Then you will identify all the assets that would require an AMC. Then this will generate a report saying which asset is procured when and what is the asset status when all it got spoiled and how many times it has moved from one location to another location. These kind of reports are already there. So these are like typical screens of how it would look like. Then this is a basic flow of how it works. Where an employee raises a request, it goes to the reporting manager who approves it. It comes to the facilities desk. Facilities desk would actually check whether a particular asset is in stock or he has to procure it. If it is in stock, he will decide whether it is in the same building or it is from a different building that he has to get it. Based on that, a gate pass is generated and inward entry is marked. If he is going to procure it, it goes through the procurement life cycle and it is allocated to the employee. Then IT team checks its usability and says that this particular asset has been given to the employee in a working condition. Then employee accepts that asset and starts using it. So if he gets any complaint, he can raise a complaint and again it goes to the facilities team wherein they update the status of the assets. These are the features of which you can track whatever is the new assets or the existing or the refurbished assets that have been brought into the company. At any given point of time, you can see how many requests are raised for a given asset and basically plan the assets based on the requirement. Then you can handle the asset life cycle for revenue and capital assets. You can see a floor plan with all the asset and asset information. You have an automatic email escalation which are handled very smoothly between the person who has raised the request and the person who is approving it. So the benefits is like you can capture the procurement details, you can capture the movement with the building, and you can generate the work order, and you can as well as facilitate visual asset movement and provide automated generation of documents like purchase orders, gate pass for each movement that happens for the asset. You can capture the asset disposal details as well as the depreciation cost. The ROI on this particular thing would be it will automate the complete asset life cycle, and there is no scope of manual errors because it is generated through the system. Admin efficiency goes up, which in turn increases the productivity, and there is a transparency in asset allocation and reallocation process. Based on our experience, the returns usually started within a year of implementing the tool. And coming to the maintenance management module, it has got preventive maintenance as well as the corrective maintenance. Preventive maintenance is a planned maintenance or an AMC kind of a thing which is scheduled either for an asset or for a space, and a plan is prepared. The same plan is updated with a maintenance report with all the remarks saying what is the condition of the asset or space. This will give a report of what has happened in a given AMC for a particular space or asset. Based on the evidence that a vendor has come for the maintenance, you can raise the work order and update the payment memo and advices. There is a corrective maintenance action wherein a person can raise a request on a help desk system, and it goes to the admin team wherein they can allocate that request to another department, or they can write their comments and fix it. As the facility is based, you can track whatever is the downtime based on the predefined SLAs for a given task. This thing is backed up with automated email reminders, and you can also integrate it with an SMS gateway. Then you have a conference room booking module wherein a conference room request is raised, attendees are selected, and the assets are selected for the meeting like a projector or a laser pointer. Then you will select the consumables like tea, coffee, and the whole of the request goes to the reporting manager wherein he will see what is the budgeted amount for that particular meeting. Then once he approves it, it goes to the facilities team wherein if it is a security requirement wherein they have to open the lock or something for the conference room, security is notified, and all the consumable requirements are fulfilled by the facilities team. Once the meeting is completed, then the utilization based on the utilized time and the assets or the consumables that are there, a report is generated which says what is the total amount that a particular project has to pay for utilizing the space. Then there is a hotel room booking which also is similar to that of a conference room, wherein in the hotel room in corporate scenario, you might have certain rooms which are already pre-booked by a corporate. So this kind of a requirement also is taken care of, and any person looking for a hotel room, they can raise a request, they can confirm the booking, and once the booking is confirmed, the room is reserved for them and the balance is updated for the rooms that are reserved. Then the release of the room happens, and based on the time that they have used the room, the balance gets deducted. It has got a strategic reporting format with more than 50 reports which are there, and any other reports that are required can be customized and provided. These are our client portfolio, wherein we were awarded with more than 5 to 6 awards, and we are there in almost banking sectors, we are there in property sector, we are there in IT sector. So any organization that has got more than one location, amantra is suitable for them. We are partnered with Microsoft. The solution is developed on the Microsoft platform using .NET and MS SQL. And we have several sales partners across the globe, and we are actively looking to join hands with the people who can promote this product and sell it actively. There are several advantages like this. You can you can maximize the return from the current investment by implementing amantra. You can also contribute significantly in the resource optimization. Thus, it will ensure a faster payback because you will be facilitating the space. You will be doing a quick reassignment of office spaces and workstations based on a need. You will also design and deliver the process, so it would be customized process that you will be doing, so it would be more efficient. You will be providing the asset management, movement and tracking of assets, so it will give a transparency in providing the asset portfolio. Then if you have a large team that you have to manage, you have minimized the risk because of it is less person dependent, and you can address the attrition point. And you can also have an automated mail triggers for tracking the AMC and schedules, so you wouldn't end up paying any penalties for the cross deadlines. So you have a completely automated workflow management wherein you can change the persons who are responsible for doing certain things at any given point of time, and you have you reduce the unnecessary asset expenditures, and you can write off the certain assets which are not there in the organization. So you actually, when you do an audit, you know what are the assets that are there and where they are present. So globalization of information is present because it's a web-enabled tool, and it can give you an accurate, consistent and a timely data. You can also use this particular data for doing a strategic analysis and planning the facilities. This is like the minimum requirements. You require a minimum dual core processor with 2 GB RAM minimum with a 80 GB storage space. You can have the mapping software, which is an optional thing, and any server which is above Windows 2000 would be suitable, and SQL servers starting from 2005, 2008, 2010, anything would do, and web browser IE6 and higher along with Mozilla and Chrome networks. And amantra is the only facilities management product that provides a perpetual server license without any user restrictions. So any number of users, any number of locations you can use with one perpetual server license. Thank you, and if you are looking for any other information, please feel free to log on to www.a-mantra.com. Thank you.